That's one of Diddy's MO. One of his former record executives met with him. And I guess he was trying to pray with him or whatever. But he tried to give him a pill.
Because they finally get a chance to rush. Then it start feeling fun. All of a sudden, everybody don't remember nothing.
I'm here because Clive Davis called me, and him and Puffy's real tight, and, you know, love him. So I thought he was talking like that. He got love for each other. So why you keep saying that? I said, look, all these, he said it was levels like, he's down one. So that's what it means, right?
You know, with Puffy in that time, or the tunnel. These are places that a 13-year-old probably should not be. That's not what I was there for. I was there because I wanted a career, man. So we would fight, we would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, man, you gotta chill, like you just a little bit too intense. That's not what I was there for. I was there because I wanted a career, man. So we would fight, we would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, man, you gotta chill, like you just a little bit too intense. And I'm telling him, look, you're gonna put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there, you got Craig Mack in there. You're gonna make me a priority.
As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock this every time. Yeah, it's gonna be yours. So, LA's a little dusty.
There was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, you know, shrooms, everything. And it was just an escape from
about his pops. I learned from his pops from one of the biggest gangsters in Harlem, New York. And I said, yo, all right, okay, you know what's up? You're gonna listen to those guys. You understand? So New York Freddie said, Puff father sold some drugs to one of their undercover guys. You understand? They arrested him because they had cops on the payroll to, you know, see what you about. He said they brought him the tape and the written confession that Puff father signed.
Period. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Now, he's become addicted to drugs and alcohol now. And they robbed him out of his publishing and his marketing. Puff seen how Big learned how to put his publishing in other people's names to stop him from getting the money that he was owed. Well, Big had to play the game because Big wanted to get his publishing back and his market. Told her he didn't know me. The reason he probably did that was because he knew that I was going to tell him his wallet's off.
I saw you. There was this. You had mentioned that as far as Diddy Pops, his dad was murdered.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that I didn't know. Did you know of his pops?
I didn't know of his pop. I didn't know jack shit about his pop. I learned from his pop from one of the biggest gangsters in Harlem, New York Freddie, right? The police said they went to New York Freddie's house in Mount Vernon and he had stacks of $100 bills 6 feet high in the whole basement. That's how much money he had. He was the one who started Russell Simmons. They won't tell y'all this story. He was the one who started Russell Simmons and them into the music business because he had a record label first that Russell Simmons used to work for. So now, New York Freddie want to talk to Big Gene. One of his lieutenants back in the day, if you can see his story, his name was Omar. Omar was our OG from 112th Street, 114th Street. They used to come around with us. They used to love the food I used to cook because I'm a hell of a cook. You know what I'm saying? So now, Omar said, yo, New York Freddie want to talk to you, Gene. I told him he used to bodyguard Puff because he want to talk to Puff and tell Puff the real story about his father. So I said, yeah, all right. So I'm like, New York Freddie. I knew my history. I knew what New York Freddie was about. So I went and took a meeting with New York Freddie. He said, New York Freddie said to me, he said, yo, man, I've been trying to get in touch with Puff. Russell Simmons, none of them would take my calls. It's all good. He said, I want to tell Puff the true story about his father. And I said, yo, all right, okay, you know what's up? You're gonna listen to those guys. You understand? So New York Freddie said, Puff father sold some drugs to one of their undercover guys. You understand? They arrested him. But they had cops on the payroll to, you know, see what you about. He said they brought him the tape and the written confession that Puff father signed. So I was like, yo, he said, we gave him $10,000. It was a New York City cop. He worked for them. He said, we gave him $10,000. Puff father said that he only told because he had a wedding to go to, which I thought was hilarious. You understand? This is coming from New York Freddie. So he said that I wanted to talk to Puff, but he wouldn't take my call, he wouldn't see me. He said, I wanted to let him know that I told the guy, y'all gotta get rid of him. Y'all brought him in, y'all gotta get rid of him. So all these people talking about he worked for Frank Lucas, he worked for that part like that. He may have gotten some things from them or whatever, did some work. Nah, he worked with New York Freddie team. And New York Freddie told the dude to get rid of him.
I just told you applies to 7 people. How they all end up with that. That's part of what you get. I came in this business saying I was going to expose.
Friend Luther was gay.
He struggled with the idea of coming out publicly. Was that something that you talked about at all?
But he wasn't going to come out and say this to the world. And he had a lot of lady fans.
The matter is, we watched this nigga get murdered right in front of our own face. And the nigga knew it was finna happen. He told us, and we didn't know.
A good place now in your life?
Depends on when you ask me whether or not it's a good place.
Are you happy?
It depends. It also depends on when you ask.
Also be said that there's nothing funnier than a black guy in a dress.
Why? Because you know ain't nobody gonna sleep with him. You only got Tiffany Haddish. She been doing comedy since she was 16.
Puppy's like...
Oh, shit. What'd he say?
To describe Puppy in one word is a bitch. They know, like, if something crazy's going on, if they send it to me, I'll make sure it get out there. Like, as far as this $50.com is concerned.
Yeah, yep.
And those other properties. So they sent it to me. Really kind of felt like those photographs not happening because of Cassie. I felt like they was happening because of Puppy.
Right.
I called him. I said, yo, you fucking with this girl? Like, you really, like, you like her? Like that? And he was like, yeah. That's my girl. I'm like, all right, I'm going to send you something. You look at it, you call me back. I sent him the photos, the pictures and everything. And the nigga called back and was like, yo, thanks, man. Yo, I really appreciate that. Yo, where you get these shit from?
You know, that was crazy. And I know people gonna think that, you know, yo, this is all what Gene wanted to see. But now, listen here, man. The devil got a purpose, God got a plan. Do you understand what I'm saying? The devil got his purpose, but God got a plan.
Send me the girl pictures, like pictures of the girl, like, not the shit that y'all saw. Worse, way worse.
Wow. Oh, you kidding me up?
Like penetration pictures and
Nah, come on.
I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. Now they're going to therapy, I'm going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
Hey, what's up, King Son? Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you. Yeah.
What you say? What you say now, break? Give me some.
Will Smith and Diddy destroyed this young singer's career, and some are saying they R-worded him like they allegedly did to Justin Bieber and Usher. So Bryshere Gray is an American actor and rapper who suddenly disappeared from the spotlight and dropped some major hints it had to do with Diddy and Will Smith's mentorship. He is now suing them both over his experience, and because many people say he was allegedly R-worded by the duo, Bryshere started to act out in disturbing ways, similar to how Justin Bieber did. On July 13th, 2020, Gray was arrested by police following an alleged DV incident with his wife. Then in May 24, 2021, he spent time in prison for allegedly putting his paws on her. So Jaguar Wright said she witnessed young boys run from Diddy's house screaming from these mentorship.
But that's not a diss. Meek likes being brought up in that song. I don't know why you lowering his thing. You think you're doing him a favor. He's very, very happy being mentioned, I'm pretty sure.
Just late night. Got my wig on. Breezing. Oh, I was like, this ain't no goddamn wig. This my natural. I don't need to be ashamed of what the fuck. That's some fucking natural. Natural. You know what I'm saying? I bring it to Toronto and Atlanta. I'm coming to Atlanta.
And I had my own weed, but like everybody was passed out. Yo, Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the fucking door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in overdrive. I ain't know what the going on, but I just heard balls slapping against cheeks. I heard struggling to take. I heard being like, yeah, daddy. When he started all that daddy this and daddy that, and then I heard some hollering and struggling like, yeah, I kept the phone there and I recorded all that.
50 Cent hasn't been holding back on Sean Diddy Combs' shady activities during the investigations. With all this coming out, Diddy's friends are sweating, afraid they'll become involved. One is Clive Davis. For Diddy and his group, 50 Cent says anything nefarious must be revealed. What did he spill? 50 Cent has constantly criticized Diddy's shadiness. In fact, there are revived statements criticizing Diddy that come straight from 50 Cent himself. During an earlier interview, possibly on Drink Champs, he shared an odd anecdote about how Diddy once informed him that he wanted to take him shopping. 50 Cent may have felt pressured by Diddy to participate in his dubious personal relationships with men. What's more, last year, a spokesman for 50 Cent told TMZ that the 48-year-old rapper's production company, G-Unit Films and Television, allegedly is working on a documentary on the charges against Combs. They stated that the documentary proceeds will benefit SA victims. Diddy is everyone's villain now that his dirty laundry has been exposed. Many people don't realize that Diddy wasn't always like this. Sure, he had a few brush-ins with the law, but nothing too significant until he joined the industry and formed links with Hollywood A-lister Clive Davis. But we'll get into that much later. Diddy before the industry. Sean John Combs, widely known as Puff Daddy or P. Diddy, originated from the bustling streets of Harlem, New York City on November 4th, 1969. His roots were firmly set in the cultural fabric of the city, yet his narrative reaches well beyond its bounds. Raised in Mount Vernon, a community throbbing with its own pulse, Sean's childhood was a combination of urban grit and suburban stability. His mother, Janice Combs, was a lady of elegance and strength. Balancing her duties as a model and a teacher's assistant, Sheena Pastantar taught in Sean the virtues of hard work and tenacity. Meanwhile, his father, Melvin Earl Combs, Tachin, served his nation in the U.S. Air Force, but also had links to the murky underworld, Tachin mingling with persons like the famed dealer Frank Lucas. Tragically, Melvin's life was cut short, while Sean was just a toddler, the victim of a tragic shooting on Central Park West when he was just 2 years old. Growing up, Sean found refuge and order in the Catholic Church, serving as an altar boy and attended Mount St. Michael Academy, an all-boys Catholic school. It was there that he polished his athletic ability on the football field, helping his club earn a division victory in 1986. Yet despite the discipline of academics and athletics, Sean was also renowned for his fiery temperament, receiving the childhood moniker Puff, owing to his tendency to huff and puff when upset. The arc of Sean's life took a shift when he joined Howard University as a business student. Though his academic studies showed potential, his business drive craved for more. After barely 2 years, he took the daring choice to leave education behind, deciding instead to seek his aspirations in the chaotic world of music and entertainment. In 1990, Sean began on a significant adventure, landing an apprenticeship at Uptown Records in New York City under the supervision of label founder Andre Harrell. Sean immersed himself in the music industry, soon establishing his worth as a talent spotter and development. These parties, marked by their electric intensity and celebrity-studded guest list, established Sean's standing as a cultural tastemaker. Even Usher, who shared a roof with Sean throughout his early years in New York City, acknowledged to the wild attraction of his lifestyle. In 1991, tragedy happened during one of Sean's humanitarian initiatives. An AIDS benefit planned by Sean and rapper Heavy D at City College of New York escalated into pandemonium, ending in a stampede that claimed the lives of 9 persons. The event put a shadow on Sean's budding career, and ultimately, he lost his job at Uptown Records. We all know that Diddy ended up becoming one of the most successful record producers and label owners in the music industry. His firm, Bad Boy Records, has housed great talents like the Notorious Great and Usher. But how did a 23-year-old up-and-coming musician make his way to the top of the business in such little time? The secret may lay in his encounter with Clive Davis. Diddy met Clive when he was only a 23-year-old lad, attempting to make it in the extremely competitive and harsh profession. But he managed to impress the famous Clive with his ideas for hip-hop. Clive tells about his first meeting with Diddy. He was seeking for an artist that could genuinely communicate to the regular people and discovered precisely what he was looking for in Diddy. Puffy was 23 years old, and I knew the artists that I had, Aretha, Dion, Whitney, were one sort of music, Davis recalled. LaFace ushered in blue-collared R&B at its height, but recognizing the hip-hop movement, both L.A. Reid and I decided that we might need someone truly sensitive to the street. You had to know what you can accomplish for yourself, and you had to recognize when you need to look to other individuals at that moment. Diddy worked under Andre Hall at Uptown Records, but things changed out swiftly for him now that he had met Clive Davis. He managed to impress Clive with his comments, as Clive recalls. When I spoke with Puffy, he expressed that hip-hop should be part of the top 40 mainstream and that the company will transform in the future. And I responded, "What have you got to illustrate that point?" And he played me Craig Flava in Your Ear, and he played me the then unknown musician that he felt and believed so deeply in. He played me 4 or 5 tunes by Notorious Big. This was enough to sell his concept to Clive, as he quickly assured Diddy that he had proved his case. I answered, "Okay, you've proven your point." That's when I invited him to the weekly, what we called singles gatherings. I presented him to an executive there as someone who would assist bring us to the street and engage in the approaching hip-hop revolution. This looks like a fairly harmless incident that propelled Diddy straight into prominence and glory. But the truth is considerably different from what Clive has been portraying for years. Turns that of this was only a cover for Clive to have intimate encounters with guys. And Diddy wasn't the only one he did it to either. Clive has been demonstrated to become engaged with up-and-coming singers after promising them a great future in the music industry. It looks that Diddy spared the danger of being dumped after having a connection with Clive, since Clive did support him in establishing up his own record company, Bad Boy Records, and continued to fund it for years. Clive has been extremely honest about his gay orientation, but Diddy has never spoken about it himself. You know, Clive Davis has earned quite a name for himself with his music productions, but now he's being spoken about more for his other ventures. After having married and divorced twice, Clive felt he wanted to go on a voyage of self-discovery to find out if he may be attracted to guys, too. This soul-searching led him understand that he isn't as straight as he had assumed himself to be for 50 years in his life. After Clive got this understanding, then he determined he was at that place in his life where he wanted to be with a guy. Clive adds, "He has never been ashamed of being attracted to males. I never felt embarrassment. No, I felt bewildered. The problem of disorientation truly deserves much more debate. It's a status that does exist." Some of you probably recall the claims made by Jaguar Wright against Diddy. She said that a former lawyer who worked with Diddy had divulged to her some really alarming facts. Wright stated that Diddy had a meeting with singer and New Jack City actor Christopher Williams about possibly signing a deal. The attorney in issue wanted to acquire permission for certain documents and went to Diddy's office to meet with him. Jaguar claims the lawyer indicated the door wasn't locked, so she didn't think twice about just coming in. When she stepped in, she noticed Christopher Williams doing a little more for Diddy. This report by Jaguar Wright, although unsubstantiated, was believed by many since they don't put anything past Diddy. What lends this allegation additional validity is that Jaguar isn't the only individual reporting that Diddy was into these types of behaviors. A Vine developer called Jay Versace also said that he had an intimate experience with Diddy. Jay Versace stated that Diddy asked him to his estate while Diddy was at the pinnacle of his success. Jay made these comments in reaction to a picture showing women having fun on Diddy's enormous outside bed. Jay added that Diddy had him bent over the same bed. It seems that Diddy inherited these tendencies from Clive Davis, who introduced him to the business. In any event, one individual who confirmed these charges, is Suge Knight. You know, Suge Knight's Jail podcast has already brought forth several bombshell charges, including a recent surprising allegation concerning Diddy and Clive Davis. In a March episode of Collect Call with Suge Knight, The former Death Row CEO recalls Jimmy Iovine delivering a stunning announcement at a meeting at Interscope. Apparently, he wasn't intended to receive the bombshell news, but opted to share it with him anyhow. We were in the office in the Westwood Interscope headquarters. Night began. I stepped in Jimmy's office. I didn't have to knock on the door. We were having a chat, and he overheard somebody say something he probably shouldn't have heard. He added, "I'm here because Clive Davis informed me that he and Puffy are extremely tight and, lovers." So I assumed he was talking like they got affection for each other. I'm like, "Fine," he replied. "Nay, they are lovers." He continued, and I'm like, "Why do you keep repeating that?" I replied, "Are they lovers like effing and essing?" And he responded, "I don't want to say that, but that's what that implies, right?" Knight's charges are unsubstantiated, but this is far from the first time Diddy has been accused of having a love involvement with a fellow male star. What's more, during an interview with The Art of Dialogue, the rapper's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, had a ton of tea to leak about Diddy, including insight into his time with Cassie Ventura, who filed and then astonishingly settled a case against her ex-partner last year. In the latest communication, the security guard said that the 54-year-old pushed his then-girlfriend to employ male S-workers for himself. He just didn't want anyone to be able to track them back to him. Addressing suspicions that have haunted the Last Night crooner for years, Gene claims he learned fast when to give Diddy his space while they were out together, such as when he came across the celeb supposedly acquiring drugs, or when they would visit an apparent gay hotspot. Gene Deal highlighted Diddy's unusual networking techniques, giving insight on the rapper's supposed travels to Turkish spas, which he claims were hotspots where Diddy allegedly socialized with homosexual guys. Deal stated that this was a regular practice for some individuals in the sector. According to Deal, these Turkish bath gatherings were more than just a haven for leisure. They offered as a unique atmosphere for business conversations. He stated that those seeking ties with bosses like Diddy were pushed to attend these baths and supposedly engage in unethical trades in return for job progress. He then continued, "That's a lot of what these men get into when they start having those specific encounters with particular people. They meet them at the Turkish bath, and they do their meetings, and they meet their peoples in those situations of where personal and professional boundaries may dissolve. The Turkish bath, where personal and professional boundaries may merge. The Turkish bath, as described by Deal, seemed to be a unique location where persons might do business without fear of censure or exposure." He further underlined the frequency of these encounters, claiming twice, perhaps 3 times a week, me and the driver be outdoors. He'll run into the Turkish bath. And as if that is not bizarre enough, Gene also said that Diddy once invited American rapper Exhibit to a homosexual bar. In the interview, Gene went on to disclose, "I know it for a fact because I was right there. He said, 'Hey Gene, monitor the door. That doesn't let nobody come through.' I said, 'I'll guard the door.' With 'If I monitor the door,' he with a man hurried out. And I responded, 'That ain't nobody told me that. I observed that firsthand. I'm telling you what I witnessed.' In addition to this, another individual who has been fairly public about Diddy's purported S-orientation issue is none other than rapper 50 Cent. And as 50 claimed in an interview that Diddy once offered to take him shopping. And by shopping, the rapper asserted that Diddy meant something different. Meanwhile, Diddy has also been called out multiple times by none other than the queen of media herself, Wendy Williams. According to allegations from the gossip mills, Wendy Williams has a photo that depicts a man tugging another man's pants down. And although one of the men could simply be Diddy, what's more, Wendy even once said that she was not happy with males in the hip-hop business disguising their genuine orientation. In the interview with Vlad TV, the media personality added, "I'm not down with any of it. It wouldn't be my dude. Be quite clear, there were lots of shows in the 80s too. What's worse, hip-hop, wearing skirts, or hip-hop being closeted and having a multiplicity of babies to establish manhood. And that, and denial of something that you shouldn't have to deny. There were several incidents back in the day in my work, and it's all going full circle today. But this isn't even the worst charge being made about Diddy. Some fans have gone as far as to dig out dirt on Diddy's history, therefore exposing how he supposedly took advantage of Usher when he was young. Usher broke the quiet on these claims when he recently detailed what he endured when staying with Diddy during an interview on The Howard Stern Show. Usher related anecdotes from his early days in New York City, including living with Puff Daddy as a teenager and hanging out at Flavor Camp for parties and gatherings. Reportedly, Usher was led into the realm of fame and fortune by Combs, who took on the role of his mentor and had Usher live with him. Usher said that, as a teenager living with Diddy, he was naturally intrigued about what was occurring around him. Sean Diddy Combs saw Usher when he was just 14 years old, and he swiftly signed the budding prodigy to Bad Boy Entertainment. However, with it came the new lifestyle that Diddy had been enjoying. However, that lifestyle has had a lasting detrimental effect on Usher, as he found things going around him as a young artist that he didn't comprehend at the time. Jumping ahead to the present, Usher revealed out on the less glamorous side of his early career in a 2012 interview with Miss O. Winfrey. He added that when he was young, Combs exposed him to wild and insane parties. Usher has freely admitted that as a teenager, he shouldn't have seen some of the things he did. He said that Diddy's lifestyle went against numerous norms, yet it continued in Hollywood, where he and many other young musicians were indulged. Usher claimed he felt pressed to perform things he wasn't ready for emotionally, latched, or cognitively. Looking back, he regretted certain choices he took back then, but he did what he felt was best at the time based on what he knew. However, apparently Usher wasn't the only one enduring this alone. Amidst all the charges and lawsuits against Diddy, even Usher stood up. But what's worse is the unearthed footage of Justin Bieber with Diddy. Recently, an old video of him and then young Justin Bieber circulating online has forced the internet to presume the worst. Many fans were taken away by the unnerving concept that he may have been supposedly doing some extremely nefarious activities with the young star. Back then, the viral video emerged as Homeland Security searched Diddy's estates in LA and Miami. It shows Sean Love Combs standing next to the young pop star saying, "You may remain with me." Puffy was also heard talking about Usher in the video. He claims that although he's not Bieber's legal guardian, he had custody of him for 48 hours since he was signed to Usher. Diddy also claims to have held legal guardianship over Usher, who was also a teenager, at the time when he worked on his debut record. Social media users instantly began to worry about what Diddy's intimate contact with these young kids at the time would mean. Many internet users classified these films as strange and scary, while others were happy that the darker side of entertainment was finally being brought to light. Diddy also promised to give Bieber his white Lamborghini as soon as he turned 16. However, Mr. Bieber didn't appear to take the rapper's generous offer too seriously. Bieber told People magazine, Diddy said, "When I turn 16, he will give me his Lamborghini." But we all know Diddy's not going to give me his Lamborghini. He's all talk. Even Justin couldn't understand why Diddy was being so kind. He even mentioned he would give him a house when he turned 18. It turns out that Diddy was trying to attract him with pricey stuff that any youngster would desire at Justin's age. Fast forward to now, Justin said that he has been frequently using drugs and faced the most difficult moment of his life. Many admirers felt that it was because Diddy introduced him to an unlawful atmosphere throughout his upbringing. What's even more startling is that recently several individuals have recently come forward and accused Diddy of allegedly SA-ing them. It's been a roller coaster trip for Diddy, which started on November 16th, 2023, when R&B singer Cassie Combs, his former lover, filed what would become the first of 5 civil claims against Combs accusing Combs of SA were filed in New York County Court. The other 3, which accused Combs of SA, were filed in the Southern District of New York's federal court. Cassie, who was originally signed to Combs' company Bad Boy Records, and whose official name is Cassandra Ventura, reportedly recounted in her lawsuit, in detail, the parties known as freak-offs Combs allegedly threw. According to the lawsuit, Combs would have her and his staff fly in male S-workers, whom he would force Cassie to have S with, and he would give Cassie a concoction with drugs. In 2012, Holmes was apparently so furious by Cassie's short romance with Kid Cudi that during Paris Fashion Week, he warned her he would blow up Cudi's car. The lawsuit alleges Cudi's automobile then burst again in his driveway at that time, which Cudi's spokesperson verified to the New York Times in a statement. Combs' counsel accused Cassie of blackmail, citing a prior demand of $30,000,000 under the threat of authoring a harmful book about their relationship, asked before launching a lawsuit, packed with false and absurd claims. The lawsuit was resolved the day after Cassie filed it, for an unknown amount. Mr. Combs' choice to settle the lawsuit does not in any way weaken his flat-out denial of the charges, his lawyer said at the time. 4 additional claims were brought in the coming months. One is from a Jane Doe, who alleges Combs and others compelled her to fly from Detroit to New York City to hang out with him at his studio in 2003, when she was 17. There, she says Combs and 2 others got her drunk to the point that she could not possibly have consented to having S with anybody and SA her. One comes from Rodney Jones, a music producer who worked on Combs' most recent project, The Love Album, who alleges Combs ordered him to solicit S workers and do activities to the enjoyment of Mr. Combs at parties in 2022 and 2023 and threaten physical punishment if he didn't comply. He also accuses Combs of having underage females at these events. Several lawsuits said Combs would film these intimate interactions, and two accused him of exploiting the video to influence the persons involved. Combs fiercely rejects all claims. He regards these lawsuits as a money grab because of Mr. Combs' popularity and success. He is an easy target for accusations who seek to tarnish him. Combs' attorney stated in a statement, "Let me be completely clear. I did not do any of the horrific things being alleged. I will battle for my name, my family, and for the truth." Combs posted on Instagram on March 25th. The Department of Homeland Security evaluated Combs' houses in Los Angeles and Miami as part of an ongoing investigation. Homeland Security investigations did not comment more. Combs' attorney characterized the raids a flagrant abuse of military-level force and a witch hunt predicated on meritless charges made in civil lawsuits. Christian Combs and his father have denied any wrongdoing. In April, their attorney claimed the most recent lawsuit was the latest in a series of obscene and meritless accusations from a lawyer whose methods, he added, were condemned by a federal judge in a prior case. As Combs' star collapsed, he remained obstinate. Tabloids released images of Combs riding along Miami Beach. In one, he flashes a beaming smile and a peace sign. On April 5th, when the news cycle had crested and begun to slow down, he shared on Instagram the approximately 8-minute music video for his 1997 Murder Night's single Victory. He spends much of the video running from cops. Its caption stated, "Naughty guy for life." In any event, although there's no concrete proof connecting Clive to the claims made against his protege, one thing is evident, Clive had some type of detrimental affect on his artists, notably Diddy, and fans are anxious for that truth to come out. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys.